Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host Lando. You can catch me on Twitter at Lando_FF. We are on Instagram at Snap_Fantasy. And if you have specific questions about start sits, we're starting to get into the playoffs, guys. So these start sits are more important than ever. Get us on our DMs, Snap_Fantasy on Twitter and Instagram. Both ways you can get a hold of us, and we will do our best to facilitate anything you need, whether it's trades, ads, start sets, all that stuff. Reminder, we do a live start set at least once a week, 2 hours before game time on Sundays to get the most up-to-date information. Now, you're here about Alvin Kamara. This has been a disappointing couple of weeks for Kamara, and the biggest reason is because of the change at quarterback. Taysom Hill is in. Now, this Denver game, that was a weird game script. They played against a team without a quarterback. I mean, I guess both teams didn't have a real quarterback, so it was a Latavius Murray game. So we're talking about scheme, we're talking about game script, we're talking about can you trust Alvin Kamara into the playoffs for this season. So, and maybe if you don't have a trade deadline, should you just trade Kamara based on his name value going forward? So, number one, Drew Brees is on IR. So, generally that's been meaning 3 weeks. But having 11 broken ribs and a collapsed lung, I do not think Drew Brees is going to come back in the season. If he does, it could be week 15, 16, and that's going to be too late to have Alvin Kamara be that back, that number one fantasy running back that we know and love for your team. So potentially, Kamara is no longer an every week start. You need to consider all aspects of the game. If the Saints are in a competitive game, like against Kansas City potentially in week 15, then he's a better start. Maybe next week against Atlanta, but it's going to be tough. The Falcons are hot and cold. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Maybe it's better if Julio Jones plays in that game. Potentially, you could get Kamara involved. They're saying they still like to use Kamara in short yardage downs, but Taysom Hill has been taking goal line work away. Latavius Murray got 19 carries this past week. The scheme that the Saints are running is a power running game. It's something that is just not great for Kamara. He's been, I mean, I know it's self-explanatory, but Taysom Hill is not a check down quarterback. Drew Brees is the best check down screen quarterback in the league. It's the small things he did well, and his first read was Alvin Kamara, rather than Taysom Hill. His first read is either push it down field to maybe Michael Thomas seems to be his go-to guy, or run with the football, and that is it. So Kamara is no longer a locked and loaded running back one in fantasy as long as Drew Brees is out. And I looked into it. It could be from 2 weeks to 10 weeks for the injury that Drew Brees has. It's a very painful 10 rib fracture that could have him out potentially rest of season. So we'll keep up to date. We'll keep up with the news on how he's progressing. He does have a chance to play again, but I'm not super optimistic when it comes to Kamara. Going forward, they have Atlanta, Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Minnesota coming up in the fantasy playoffs. So if you have Kamara, you're probably in the playoffs. Drop it in the comments who you have instead of Kamara going forward. Do you have Latavius Murray? I think potentially we can start Latavius Murray over Alvin Kamara, and that's crazy to think. And maybe if you're behind in a matchup, you need Kamara to have a boom game. He is still that boom guy. But if it's close, you need a floor play. I don't know if Kamara is that anymore. When they played Atlanta, he got into the end zone. That was his saving grace, and it's potential that he does it again in week 13. But Kamara is someone I don't believe we can rely on. Drop it in the comments. Get me on Twitter at LandoFF. Maybe I'm crazy, but guys, if I have Kamara, I would be shopping him to see what kind of value I could get. That is if your trade deadline has not already passed. Thanks a lot for coming by. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new to it. We respond to every comment and all of our DMs on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks a lot, guys, and we will see you next time.